canto da alma, no canto do coração. O cantinho benfiquista é mais que uma paixão. Vermelho nas veias, a luz no olhar. Aqui vive o sonho, onde o bem vem brilhar. Seja bem-vindo quem vier por bem. O bem move montanhas, é força que vem. O cantinho benfiquista é onde o sonho se conquista. O bem e o Benfica, unidos na voz. Aqui somos muitos, mas sentimos como um só. Do bairro ao estádio, o hino ecoar. Cada grito é vida, é amor a vibrar. No sonho benfiquista.
Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Cantinho Benfiquista podcast. We are on episode 219, gaining some form off the back of another W, off the back of progressing into the quarterfinals of the Taça de Portugal. As always, I'm your host. I'm Mike. I'm joined by Bill. I'm joined by Kenny. Oscar's a question mark. Jason, unfortunately, can't make it tonight. As always, I'll go left to right. Bill, welcome. How are you?
Doing good. Two good results here and in nice little form. So can't complain too much right now.
That's true. Kenny, how are you?
Good, guys. Good to see you guys again with good news. So got a good streak going on.
Very true. Speaking of streaks, I think in our last 10, we've got 8 wins and 2 draws, if I'm not mistaken. I was doing the math earlier. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. 7 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws. Our last defeat was against Bayer Leverkusen, Newcastle, and Chelsea. So our only defeats in recent times were in the Champions League and Karabag. So I guess not too bad. Seems like the team's gaining some momentum, which is good. Today we got a lot to talk about. We've got obviously today's game against Farense. A lot of topics that we can pick on as it relates to that game. Mourinho wins his 750th match as a manager, which is an incredible number, to say the least. As it refers to Benfica, it's only his 18th win as a Benfica manager, and that's also going back to his original stint at the club. Talk about that. We'll talk about, touch briefly on the 4-0 win away to Moreirense, a place that typically is generally difficult to go and get some wins. We'll talk about Kenny's favorite topic, Pavlidis in the top 5 goal scorers for the year 2025 in Europe. He's amongst some names of some players that you might recognize. I mean, Mbappe's got 55 in the calendar year. Harry Kane's got 47. This guy named Pavlidis, I think his name is. He's got 42. I don't know if you guys know him. Osimhen has 37 at Galatasaray, and this other guy named Holland has 35. So this Greek dude, who I'm not sure who he is, he's 3rd out of 5 in the calendar year of 2025 in goals. We'll touch on that briefly, and we'll compare probably these goals count to some recent, or not recent history, but past history of the club, and where does he line up against some of the most historic of our club. We'll talk quickly about Famalicão on Monday at home, which will be a big match and a difficult match, and then we'll end it with a game called Winner Stays On. I've prepared one for each of you based on your positions as amateur footballers that we all are. I've got a list of strikers or attacking players for Bill. I've got a list of defenders for Kenny. And I had one for Oscar if he decides to show up. So we'll end it with that. For those of you who are watching, please join the conversation. Let us know your thoughts, what you think about the game, what you think about the team's form, how we're looking, how we're not looking. Be part of the conversation, make this interactive. We appreciate that. Para a malta que esteja a ver e prefere em português, deixem os vossos comentários em português. Todos nós percebemos, por isso podemos abordar os vossos comentários, as vossas opiniões, por isso não sintam que tenham que deixar o comentário em inglês, estejam à vontade, participem em português, está tudo bem. And if anyone that's watching back or listening after the fact, leave us your thoughts, leave us a like, subscribe, follow, share, do all those fun things for us. It takes you about 5, 6, 7 seconds, and it doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us get a little bit more reach as it relates to the podcast. So Benfica goes to Faro, Centenarian Stadium, Estádio de São Luís. I have a lot of memories of that stadium growing up, not going there, but watching Benfica games and even Portuguese League games at that stadium. The old days of Paco Fortes coaching Farense bring back memories of that stadium with the fencing behind the goals, and it was tight. It's a little bit different now, but stadium that's typically tough to go to and get wins and get results. Farense is in the second division now, managed by Silas, and they're not doing great. They're 9th, if I'm not mistaken, in the league. They dropped last year after a difficult season, but Benfica goes there and gets a result, and I would say a performance to match with it. We started with a few changes. We had Samu and net, Tomás Araújo on the right-hand side, Antonio and Otamendi as center backs, Dal on the left, Richard Rios, Manu in the midfield with Sheldrup, Sudakov, Prestiani, Ivanovic. Bill, I'll start with you. Give me your thoughts on this lineup. I know that you said in our group chat, guys, we're playing with 2 wingers, which we haven't done in a while, which is very true. But thoughts on kind of the lineup, and looking at it, we had Araújo comes in on the right, Tony comes in center back, Manu comes in center mid, Prestiani, Sheldrup, and then Ivanovic. So we had, and Samu. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new players, 7 different positions because Tomás went out wide.
Yeah.
But thoughts on the changes, and did you expect such a, I guess, comfortable is maybe the word, in the sense of kind of, I felt like we were in control the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, the changes as expected, right? Given the amount of games we've played, what's coming up, right? Like it's not getting any easier. So these Taça games, you expect Mourinho to take that opportunity to give some of the bench guys some more minutes and rotate a bit. But at the same time, he rotated, but he kept the kind of core still there. You still had Otamendi in the middle. You still had Rios in the middle. Sudakov down the middle, and then Freddie came in. But so you're not losing your core, the core of the team. And the guys that came in, like Ivanovic, had played well against Napoli. And then when he came in against Moreirense, played well. So he's been in good form. And today I thought he played well as well. So it's expected. I thought the guys that came in played well. Prestiani and Sheldrup. I mean, these games fit them. The Benfica is gonna have the ball 99% of the time. There's not a ton of tracking back to do. You're gonna have space in behind. You're gonna be able to get in between lines. So it fits, giving them the opportunity. They both played well. I think it's one of those games where I wouldn't say we ever got out of like third gear, right? Benfica pushed when they needed to push. They got the early goal, and then we kind of went into like a cruise control, right? We kept the ball, moved it, but it wasn't like the stagnant kind of back and forth, side to side kind of play, right? It was we played, but we were kind of playing with purpose, right? We created opportunities, we just couldn't find it. We had the PK. Don't know why Otamendi is stepping up for PKs with given some of the players we have on the field, right? You have Rios can take them, probably take them. Sudakov can definitely take them. Ivanovic can definitely take them. That surprised me that Ivanovic wasn't the one taking that PK, given he's your striker. You kind of want him banging in goals.
Scoring goals.
And
Yeah.
a PK is like one of those perfect opportunities to get his motivation up. You give him the PK, bangs it in, motivation up. But for whatever reason, this is the second Taça game in a row, right?
Yes, he missed against
Otamendi-
Atletico in the last one too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know why he's deciding to take them, but clearly not working out. And there wasn't even like a beautiful sit. Like it wasn't a nice hit PK. Like it was
No.
to the side,
I felt like it was so
mid-height.
obvious.
It was, yeah, and it was like it wasn't tucked away. Like it was an easy save. But again, it's a game that I think Benfica controlled. Never really. I'm trying to think if Samu or I know definitely could have been didn't have any saves.
Just at the end,
don't
had
remember
a
if-
shot saved, and then they had the goal that was called off because of the foul.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I don't remember a save or even a shot. I mean, looking at the stats, Farense says 3 shots on target, but apart from the one that Trubin had at the end, I don't really recall anything that was significant.
I don't either. So again, it's a game where Benfica controlled it, never really were threatened or pushed back and had to defend for their lives. But a result that is very just. Could have been a few more. And I think Mourinho did well mixing in some players, giving them some more time and kind of motivation, bringing their spirits up a bit, especially Ivanovic, right? Like we've talked about it. Striker lives on goals. A striker's goal, right? Like it plays it out wide, takes a shot, and he's just in the right spot at the right time, comes back out to him, taps it in. So I think all in all, it was a solid performance. I wouldn't say it was a master stroke for Mourinho, but I thought we played well. We did enough to win, and never were kind of on the ropes or had the game in doubt. I thought we played really well.
Yeah. Before I jump to Kenny, Lewis says still wondering why he took that penalty. I'm gonna pass this ball backwards, given my normal position on the field. Bill passed it back to me. I'm gonna pass it back to Kenny, who plays on the defensive line. Does it make sense to you, Kenny, as a defender, that Otamendi takes these PKs? And Mourinho said after the game that he came up to him after and said, you know what, if he wants him to continue to be option number 2 as it relates to penalties, he has no issues with that. As later, he'll step up every time, but he also has no objections if Mo decides that he wants someone else to be the number 2. Obviously, Pavlidis is our number 1 PK taker. Obviously, Otamendi is number 2 in that ranking. He did miss in the last Taça game against Atletico at the Stadio Stilo. He had scored one earlier this season in the league. I can't remember who it was against off the top of my head, but it was at home. I know that. And he scored that one. And then he misses again today in a penalty that I thought was very obvious where he was going. The way he opened up his body in the run-up, I felt was very obvious where he was going. As a center back, apart from the experience element, right, which he has, does it surprise you a bit, kind of like Bill said, where you've got, Otamendi's not a set piece taker, right, but he's a PK taker. Like, does that make sense to you as a defender?
I mean, unless he's a phenomenal PK taker, like, there makes no sense. I guess that might be the story of the game, right? Because it seems like it was, a pretty cut and dry type of game, and the big story was why did the PK miss, and now you start to question it. I mean, if had he scored, you questioning it, probably not, but I mean, you have, like Bill said, you have Ivanovic, who you're trying to see what more he can give. You would think if you've got a striker who's struggling to score and you've got an opportunity to get him on the score sheet, give him some confidence.
Yep.
And if this is a guy you want to keep for the future, you want to try to build him up. So, you got your center back taking the PK. I'm sure Ivanovic is probably not feeling too good about that. But I don't think, if I'm Otamendi and he is the second option, you're not going to tell the coach, "Oh no, I'm not taking it." You're going to step up as the captain. It is a coach's decision, and we'll see what Mourinho has to say. I wouldn't have Otamendi do it, and I'm sure Otamendi probably would not care if he's not the second option.
Yeah, and I mean, he said after the game that he was okay with either. He said Otamendi approached him and he was okay with either option. So curious to see kind of how that goes. The other penalty was the 3-0 win against Tundela. Joe Miguel just said.
So what is he, 2 for 2? Or
he's 1 for 3, 1 out of 3.
Oh, 1 out of 3.
Yeah, he scored that. It was the first one that he scored, and then he missed the last game, and then this game.
Mm-hmm.
So curious to see how this plays out, and if he continues to be in there, or if they give the opportunity to someone else. Bill's having some technical difficulties, so he's going to reboot his machine. But so it'll be you and I here for a few minutes. But I wanted to get your thoughts on, again, he gave Cristiani an opportunity today. He gave Sheldrup an opportunity as well. I thought both looked fine. Sheldrup had, in the first half, maybe 2 or 3 opportunities where he could have made a different decision. I feel like decision-making is some of his problems, which, again, he's young. But my question to you isn't necessarily around his performance, because I know you were not able to fully watch the game. But my question to you is more, with the current roster that we have, with the type of winger that it seems Mo prefers, right? A Luca Bacchio versus a Sheldrup, right? Luca Bacchio is very north to south, very go at you. Sheldrup may be that, but he still hasn't shown that at Benfica. He showed it at Midtjylland where he was before, or Noordjylland where he was before, and on loan. He hasn't really shown it consistently at Benfica. He just doesn't seem to have that explosiveness to be able to beat guys straight away. Ironically, I saw a stat yesterday or something where the last time Benfica was champions in Portugal, we won it with 2 guys playing the wings that weren't wingers, João Mario and Auschwitz, which is interesting. And that was, I mean, if we go back,
scorer, wasn't it?
Yeah, and if we go back in history, right? If you look back, that lineup with no out and out wingers, because Rafa was operating in the middle. With no out-and-out wingers in that squad, I would say probably that was probably the best we'd seen Benfica play probably in the last 12 years, 13 years, right? Since JJ left, which is ironic. But my question to you here is, given what you've seen and what we've seen from someone like Sheldrup, do you see them potentially, if there's an opportunity this January, to either loan him or potentially even sell him, depending on what that looks like, with the opportunity, if the opportunity is right, but also with the opportunity if we can get someone in to take that spot? Do you see that as a possibility based on what you've seen also?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, how old is he?
It's like 20, maybe 19. He's young.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to give up on a guy, but I just don't think he has the makeup for Benfica. There's guys that have had less opportunities to, prove themselves that were gone a lot sooner. And so I think Sheldrup, nothing against him. I think, he could be a decent, like, off the bench option in certain games. But I just don't think he has the makeup that, we would all expect of a player at Benfica. Again, it sucks. He's a young kid. You'd want to give him time, but I don't know. I just don't see a good fit, for the team. So I think if you have the option, or if you have the ability to trade, sell him, I think he's sold. I'm not sure if he gets loaned out. Even if he does good somewhere else, he comes back, I doubt he's going to have an impact on the team. So I think, if you have the opportunity to sell him and get a return on him, I think that's the way to go and backfill.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens in January. I know there's been a lot of rumors circulating. I know I've seen rumors about Cristiani potentially River Plate being interested for $8 million and Benfica saying no.
See, Cristiani, and I know he had like a bad. he's one that I probably take more or give more of an opportunity, like more chances, or at least wait it out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I think he is younger.
I think you're about
He
the same
came.
age.
Is
Oh
he?
no, you might be right. He's
I think
younger.
he's under 20 or
Yeah, because he's 19.
yeah. So, and again, I just feel like he did come with a lot more hype. He's a South American player, which we have a little bit more success with on the on our team. I think he could develop into a better player. I just think it's an age thing with him. He needs more time, and he's a small kid. Like he just needs to bulk up and get stronger. That's a project that I would hold off on if a loan makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
But I think with Sheldrup, I think that for me, that experiment is over.
Bill, do you agree? Would you, if given the right opportunity, either for a loan or for a sale, would you part ways with Project Sheldrup in January?
I mean, I think it kind of depends on what we potentially bring in.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we don't have wingers, so we're kind of slim pickings at the moment. But I kind of would, just given the amount of opportunities he's had. He hasn't taken that leap forward that we kind of all expected. I mean, last year he had was at the Taça de Liga final.
In the semifinal, he played well too. I think it was against Braga, if I'm not mistaken. And then first half against Sporting in the Taça Liga final, he had a decent showing.
Yeah, and he had that second half of last year. He had some good showings, and we kind of all expected this to be his breakout year. And I think I think Lage and Rui Costa and the Direção did as well, because they kind of cleared space for him to take a huge role. And to start the year, he didn't play well, and he hasn't really performed well when he has had his opportunities. And under Mourinho, he's been like a non-factor, just because he doesn't. Mourinho said at one of his first games, he doesn't track back, he doesn't press. He's a possession winger. Like, he wants the ball at his feet and he wants to work into space. That's not going to fly with Mo. I think Mourinho is you're going to work forward, but you got to work your ass back as well, and you got to defend and you got to help the team, and those aren't his strong suits. If we bring in wingers, which I'm expecting we do, then I wouldn't be surprised if we got a decent offer that we offloaded them.
I was just saying to Kenny before you jumped back in that we talk about wingers and winning with wingers, but the last time we won the title in Portugal was without wingers. Rafa was playing center, and we had João Mario wide and Auschwitz wide. Ironic to say the least. Talking about a few other points here from today, we've got Manu returns to center mid, if I'm not mistaken, his first start. He had played a couple of minutes in previous games. He came in against Moreirense. He had played a previous match as well. He does look a little bit rusty in certain elements of the game, but I do think that, once he gets up to speed, I think he'll be a big piece to this puzzle and kind of be like a new signing for the second half of the season. Because,
Mike, remind me again. So how long was he gone, and what was it? Was it a knee or an ankle injury?
ACL. And he got hurt last January, because we bought him in January and he played 3 games and he got hurt. 2 games or 3 games. So so he played.
Was his first start,
right? First start at home against, or at the side of the Lose, if I'm not mistaken. He had played 1 or 2 games prior to that. So he's played 2 or 3 games before this. I know he came in against Moreirense, which Moreirense is the team that he got hurt against to side of the Lose, him and He played 1 minute against Ajax, played 3 minutes against Sporting. He played 9 minutes against Moreirense, and he played 90 minutes today. Mo did say he didn't expect him to play 90 minutes, but the way the match went on, he didn't have to do many offense to defense transitions. He didn't have to chase guys on the defensive third, which helped him kind of maintain his level and not have to burn himself out, which is kind of where I wanted to go. The next kind of topic, and I'll start with you, Kenny. in more of a general sense is, I think we've all been critical. Maybe you've been more critical. I guess before I even jump into that question, I think everyone wants to know is, are you back on the roller coaster? Or are you still kind of standing on the platform waiting to get back on with your tickets in your hand? Like, are you, where are we at right now?
I'm still waiting till we'll see how the rest of this month goes.
All right, you're waiting for us to come back.
Yeah, I'm just, it's a lot of work to get off and jump right back on. So
he's counting his tickets to make sure he's got enough to get back on.
Yeah.
We've all been critical, and I think you may have, of the group, been maybe the most critical in the sense of giving away 45 minutes in most games. I think the team is starting to show a little bit more organization on and off the ball. Starting to show a little bit more understanding of what the manager wants. They look to be a little bit more organized as a whole, pressing better. We saw what they did against Moreirense, 3 goals where, the pundits and the media will say there were offers from Moreirense, but when Sporting does it, it's great pressure. There was an image going around today where Benfica had three players at the edge of the box from Moreirense where we recovered the ball and scored. Sporting's goal against us, same thing. They had three players at the edge of our box, recovered it and scored. Right, so it's like, for ones it's a positive, for the other it's a negative. Whatever, it's basically however you want to look at it. But does it surprise you that we're starting to see this team grow, right, from where it started with Mo and Brunelage earlier in the season, and kind of looking at the team and feeling like they were very disjointed. They were just a group of kids or players on the field, but they weren't really a collective. And seeing as we're progressing match over match and the team starting to gain some confidence and look a little bit better. Like I said, in the last 10, we've lost 1, we've drawn 2 and won 8. Our only losses, going back to since Mo joined, is against Chelsea away, against Newcastle away, and against Bayer Leverkusen at home, which realistically was probably our best Champions League performance up until that Napoli game that we shouldn't have lost, but somehow we managed to lose. So in terms of results, we all know Mo is a results-driven guy. He may not play the most beautiful and entertaining football, but he's a guy that's going to get results, right? Whether that's boring and painful to watch at times, he's going to get you across the finish line more often than not. But does it surprise you, based on what you've seen and the criticisms that we've had and kind of the injuries and the type of personnel that we have available to Mo? This isn't his team. It's not what he put together. Does it surprise you to see the progression of this team? Even just looking back at the last 10 games and even looking at just the month of December, which we all said a couple of podcasts ago that it was going to be decisive, right? We drew Sporting at home in a match that Sporting didn't have a shot after the 25th minute, right? Which is telling. We beat Napoli at home 2-0. We beat Moreirense away 4-0. We beat Farense today 2-0. Are you surprised by this evolution and this progression?
Like, naturally, I want to say that I'm a little surprised just because of how poorly I've seen them play early on. But, I was one that was very strong before the season that, like, we were, like, front and center, like, title contenders. Like, we were the favorites. So, like, this is how initially at the beginning of the season, how I thought Benfica would be playing and how we would be playing. And I give them credit. I mean, despite the elections, the coach change, injuries to the team, like everything that's been going on, I'll give them credit that they are starting to feel themselves. And again, that Napoli game to me was a masterclass of a game, the best all season, and what I expected before the season even started. But I've learned more and more that, like, in a season like this with the ebbs and flows, like, I just feel like the crash, like there's a crash that'll eventually come, and it's how we react. Look, we're gonna give up points again throughout this season, and it's gonna be a downer, and I'll jump off the train again. But it's,
well, you're not on, so you can't jump off.
But it's and I'll be back on. But it's how you react to that, and I think there's been like many instances where, like, we start playing good and then boom, we fall, and it's not just a one game slip up, it's like one after another. And so, look, I think right now, not only like the win streak or, without losing, I think we've only conceded a goal in probably the last 7 or 8 games. So, like, we are starting to find our form despite all the challenges. I just hope that it continues. And we got to like really put this in phases. Like, we have to look at this as like the remaining of this month, because it's a big stretch of games and we've done well so far. We got to finish strong and then worry about Champions League as it comes to see if we can get to that next phase come January. But, there's going to be a slip up here and there. It's how we react and how we finish, because I don't know, Porto and Sporting, it's going to be a tough battle, and we got to make up ground, and we'll see how Mo can do.
Bill,
and hopefully we get some reinforcements, because that I do, like Bill was saying, like, I kind of feel like we should move on from Sheldrup, but you're right. It depends on if we can get someone to come in and replace, and who we get to replace. We don't have a good track record of the January transfer window, or guys that come in and make a quick impact. We're going to have 1 or 2 guys that come in and make an immediate impact if we are to make a run this year.
Before I pass it to Bill to get his thoughts on that, in terms of stats, in the last 10, Benfica scored 20 and conceded 5. We won today 2-0. We beat Moreirense 4-0. Napoli 2-0. We drew 1-1 versus Sporting, 2-1 versus Nacional, 2-0 versus Ajax, 2-0 versus Atletico, 2-2 against Casa Pia, and 0-1 against Leverkusen. So, in terms of conceding goals, we've only conceded 1, 2, 3 in 4 matches of the last 10 or 11. It just goes to show, in terms of our organization, if we look at the games prior to that, just going back, we beat Vitória 3-0, Tondela 3-0 in the League Cup, Oroca 5-0, lost to Newcastle 3-0, Chaves 2-0, tied Porto 1-0 to Chelsea, 2-1 Gil Vicente, 1-1 Rio Ave, 3-2 Karabag, 3-0 IFS, 1-1 Santa Clara, 2-1 Alverca, right? So in terms of keeping shots out of our goal, even in the last 3 games, we've got 3 clean sheets in a row.
But Mike, can I just wanted to add something, right? So like, even today, and I didn't watch the game, but like, we got an early goal, right?
Yep.
How did that change the game? Like, had we not gotten that early goal and then Otamendi misses the PK, how different could this game have been, right? Like, it could have been another, like, what was it, Atletico?
And then the Taça.
Right? Could have been another, like, 0-0 going into the
I don't think it would have, because, again, we scored in the 11th minute, which was early on. We had a couple of shots before that. But, in terms of the first half, we scored early, right? So we're obviously playing guessing games. What if we don't score that goal? But nonetheless, we've seen it in the past where Benfica scores and they just sit back, right? And they just sit and they pack it in and just kind of turn their brain off, especially games like this where it's a second league opposition. You're playing a lot of games. There's a lot of changes in the squad. Like, if there's ever an opportunity for laziness and lack of fluidity, it's these games, right, where you make 5-6 changes. And I'll get Bill's thoughts on it after mine, but I thought, like Mo said in his press conference after the fact, he thought the team was very professional. They were very engaged. We were pressing them in the second half in the last 10 minutes. Like, apart from the 88th minute where they got a shot, or it might have even been in the 90th minute where they got a shot, they got a corner kick, they scored a header that was a push on Antonio Silva. Like, they didn't create anything. They didn't do anything. And the same thing against Moreirense, like, same thing. Even though we scored, we went on to score 4 goals, but like, the team just looks more aware and understanding of, like, listen, we can't fuck around anymore, right? Like, we can't go into these games lazy. And Mo said it after the game. He said, at halftime, what he told the team was the only thing he was unhappy with was the fact that it was only 1-0. And the game was still there for the taking. But again, and I don't know if Bill agrees, but like, I just never felt that we were on the ropes. I never felt that we weren't in control. I always felt like, even though it was 1-0, the team was always looking for that next goal, was still creating opportunities, was still going forward, was still pressing, and we weren't seeing what we have seen earlier on this season, even with Mo and with Bruno Lage, where it's like you score and it's like, all right, let's sit back. We're not going to press anymore. Let's just let them come to us. And then you're basically inviting pressure, and then you can see the stupid fucking goal. And we're all sitting here going, I knew it was going to happen. Why did we sit back? Why don't we keep pushing forward? But Bill, I don't know if you saw the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said earlier, I don't think we ever got out of like second or third gear, and that's because we didn't have to, right? I think we controlled the game and pushed when we wanted to. And if we needed to, like if they scored a goal and it was 1-1, I feel like it would have been no issues for us to score another or a third. Like I felt like we got the early lead, but we didn't sit back, like Mike said, and just do the typical side left to right, back and forth possession. We possessed it, but we were working down the middle, working it out wide, taking guys on, crosses into the box. Like there were still opportunities being created. And we never really, I didn't feel like we ever had to like push and like get out of that second gear and try to force something, right? It was very controlled, methodical game. And I mean, again, I think if needed, we could have easily scored a few more. And I think to touch on like the whole season as a whole to this point, I think for me, the big changing point so far was after the Athletic game, right? That Mourinho came out publicly and said
Correct.
he was not happy with the performance, the way players played. I feel like from that point forward, this team has been very different. Very like we haven't seen performances where we saw with Lage or with even Roger at the tail end of Roger, where you'd come into a game and just pack it in, right? You didn't see the effort, lazy. They'd score. We conceded a goal and that was it, right? With this, since that game, I feel like the team is very Mourinho-esque, right? Like build like solid defensively, not conceding much, controlling games, picking and choosing when to go forward, and we're getting goals now, right? So eventually, everything is going to kind of fall into line. My only concern is it too late, right? Like, is the league, like, is Porto's, 7-point gap too much at this point? Like, or 8. Yeah. So like, are they going to drop enough points to where it's an actual title race? Sporting hasn't slipped up, right? Like we've slipped, the others haven't. And unfortunately right now we're playing catch up, and I don't know if there's enough time to act. Well, there's enough time because it's happened, but I just don't know if it's going to happen.
Jimmy, you guys got a good question in the backstage, but before I get there, Kenny, just to pick up on what you were saying in terms of the complacency. If there was ever a moment for Benfica to be complacent, after Otamendi missed that PK, I feel like would have been a good telling moment of the team's mental state. Right? How many times have we seen Benfica's in the lead, and you miss a flagrant opportunity, a PK, right? And just all of a sudden the other team gets this huge injection of oxygen and confidence. Like, fuck yeah, they just missed a PK. We got another opportunity. And they're down our throat for 5, 10, 15 minutes. And we're now reeling, trying to figure out how do we get this back. And even after that, like the team just never let up. Like they never lost their mental composure. They never lost their kind of focus on what they needed to do. And if there was a time, typically in that window after a moment like that, is when you would see a team kind of take a step back. And even then, they didn't do that. Good shout from you on that game, Bill, against Atletico. I was just looking at while you were saying that. So Benfica had that Atletico game where we won 2-0, and Mo came out after the fact and said at halftime if he could have changed 10 players, he would have changed 10. I think Rodrigo Rego was the only one that he said he would have kept on. Before that game,
we played 3 in the back, right?
It was.
Was that the game? Yeah. So yeah. Rego came out and we switched to the normal.
Yeah, Tomás Araújo, Otamendi, Silva, Dedic on the right, and Rego on the left. Yep. Prior to that game, we had come off a tie at home against Casa Pia, which is the game that Richard Rios lost that ball in the midfield, and they came down and scored in stoppage time. And before that game, we had lost to Leverkusen. So we had Leverkusen loss, Casapia tie, both at home, 2-0 win against Atletico in a game that was fucking miserable, right? Where the team didn't take it very serious. There was lack of fluidity. It wasn't flowing. And after that game, we've got 2-0 Ajax, 2-1 Nacional, 1-1 Sporting, 2-0 Napoli, 4-0 Moreirense, 2-0 Farense. And of those games, Ajax, Nacional, Sporting, Napoli, Moreirense, and Farense, I would argue that Benfica was superior in all of those games, apart from the opening 15 minutes against Sporting at home. I don't know if you guys agree.
Well, Nacional,
I mean, we gave them a gift. Yeah, but we gave them a gift. Benfica was better in the game.
It was ultimately out of the back.
They scored on a fucking fuck up, and then the team finally woke up and scored 2 goals late. But apart from that gift that we gave them, they weren't better than us. I mean, stats, even just statistically, we had 70% possession versus 30. We had 30 shots against 6, 2.4 expected goals versus 0.39. I mean, even just the stats in itself will tell you what that picture, but I just feel like that's a good shout from Bill.
Yeah.
I think looking at the numbers, that Atletico game and his coming out after the fact and kind of putting the players in check may have been also a turning point from a mental perspective for this team.
If we've made that change mentally, that like we're not going to be complacent, we're not going to give up 45 minutes, we're going to stay on top of them. Like if we've made that mental switch, then we're on the right path. The Mourinho magic has worked, and let's see what happens if this continues moving forward.
Do you think, touching on Joe Miguel's question in the background, or the backstage, he asks, do you guys think Mo's bringing up of B team players could also be lighting a fire under some of these players that are on the A team, right? I think Rodrigo Regu getting more time than Sheldrup in recent games. Jean Regu, who's been with the A team, has been sitting on the bench, right? Prestiani hasn't had as many minutes. Benjaki got his first minutes on the A team today, right? And in a position where we've got Dedic and we've got Ba coming back from an injury, right? So Auschwitz hopefully doesn't have to play out there. Tomazaruj maybe. But do you think, I'll start with you, Kenny, do you think that element as well could be creating that high demand for everyone else of like, fuck, I'm not playing as it is. Meanwhile, Rodrigo Regu comes up. He's now playing ahead of me. Like, I need to fucking wake up or I'm not going to play.
Yeah, there could be a little bit of that going on. I mean, I think just naturally as a player, if you see other younger guys getting more time or getting more attention, it's going to create competition, and competition is good. So, but you named, who was that? Benjaki? Who the fuck is that? New player?
Benjaki, he's right back, U17. He just won the national or the World Cup for the Portugal U17 starter.
Okay.
He can play right back. He can play wing back. Very good player. Still young, but he's got some decent characteristics. I mean, he's a flyer up and down that line. He is just going to work his socks off up and down that line.
Well, then that's exactly, Mourinho loves that. So
yeah,
makes sense.
So, Bill, I don't know if there's anything that you want to add to that.
I mean, I take these B team players coming up with a bit of, especially these young kids, like with a grain of salt, right? Like
especially these, they're 17.
And like I think it's their future, right? Like they won the World Cup, played really fucking well in that tournament, and I think it's a bit of Mo kind of telling them and showing them that, yep, you guys are the future. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's those type of guys are going to put pressure on the A team guys to play, or else you have these young kids waiting in the wings. Because as we all know, like these kids aren't going to you can't ride these kids for a full season. They're not
Yeah.
experienced enough. Mourinho is not the type of coach to give them that type of leash too, and like he's going to put him in certain chances. Games were up 2 or 3 at the last few minutes. Yeah, he's going to get them the minutes, but I honestly think I think it was the Atletico game that Mourinho came out publicly and said, and we chatted about, I remember we talked about this on the pod. Like if he's saying that publicly, what's he saying in the dressing room? And I think Mourinho probably tore into those guys and opened some guys' eyes. And when it's a guy like Mourinho saying it, it hits a lot harder than when it's a guy, no offense to Roger Schmidt or to Bruno Lage, like they don't have the same global impact in footy as Mourinho has had. So it hits a little different.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But then again, Mo's been known for these, I guess, mind games or whatever you want to call it, where people are like, well, you shouldn't throw your players on the bus. Well, he's clearly, he's had his moments where he's done it and it hasn't worked out well. But I think we could all agree that maybe he's had more successes with it than failures. And hopefully this is one of those situations where it's a success and not a failure. I know that when he did do it, people came out right after and were like, here we go. He's looking to get sacked. He's trying to get another payment out and blah, blah, blah. And here we go. It's like, well, I wonder what those people have to say now, a month later, and the results and the performances, and see what they think. Quickly to close this game out, let me see what else I got here. Richard Rios scores again. Another guy that Kenny's kind of been on the fence about. Another good performance. He's got another goal. He's growing in confidence. He's looking good. I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Now we move on to the next round. We've got either Porto or Famalicão away. I believe they play tomorrow. That'll be four games in the Taça this year, all of which are away from home. I mean, you can call it what you want, but I don't think it's a
How did that happen? That's already predetermined?
Yeah, the next phase is already predetermined. And I'll tell you how it happened, Kenny. It's this thing called hot balls. Those, or they might be cold too. But I don't think it's a coincidence. It happens constantly. But it is what it is. We'll go there, and whether it's Famalicão or whether it's Porto, and we'll try to get a result. What else? Sudakov Samu injury. Samu had a little bit of a twitch in his hamstring. Mo said he could have potentially played through it in the second half, but he didn't want to have to burn a second stoppage for a substitution because he already had taken Sudakov off in the first half. So he didn't want to risk it. So he brought Trubin in at halftime. Sudakov was a clumsy challenge from the opposing player from Farense. I can't remember what the hell his name was. Rafinha, maybe. Just super clumsy, and looks like he just gave him a super bad dead leg. And he wasn't able to just kind of to shrug it off. So hopefully nothing significant there. 750 wins for Mo. I already mentioned that. Month of December, we've got 3 wins and 1 draw. What else? I think that's it for this game. Statistically, Benfica had 13 shots, 5 on target versus 9 shots for Farense, 3 on target. We led all the stats in terms of the game. We had 81% pass efficiency, 10 corner kicks. We had 11 fouls versus 18, 62% possession versus 38. Goals by Richard Rios in the 11th minute, Ivanovic in the 56th minute. We had also, I guess worth noting, a foul that was called outside the box in favor of Benfica. Last man. VAR calls the referee to go look at it, assuming VAR was telling the referee that it should have been a red card because the defender is the last guy. But referee goes and looks at the replay, comes back and says he maintains the yellow card, does not give a red card. My analysis of that play, I think he got the call right. And kudos to him for telling VAR that he was going to stand by his decision.
Doesn't happen often.
Correct. There was a defender. He is the last defender, but there is a defender behind Ivanovic and a defender coming from his left.
Yeah.
Which I don't think. So. Yeah, there's 2 right there. I don't think he's going to get the shot off clean. without any pressure. So we're quick to criticize when the decisions aren't right, and I think in this situation the ref made the right decision in real time, got called to VAR to potentially change it to a red card, and stuck by his decision after looking at it and didn't go with VAR's recommendation. But again, I agree with his analysis, and I don't think it should have been a red. I think it would have been harsher if it was a red. So worth noting that. Goal point rating, highest goes to this guy named Richard Rios again. I think that's 3 in a row.
3 in a row, yeah.
So quite impressive from him. Jumping over to the next topic, let me just see if there's any comments. Rui, welcome back. Sudakov only suffered a Charlie horse, I think. Yeah, it looked like just really bad Charlie horse, and he just struggled to kind of get back into it. So hopefully nothing too crazy, and he'll be ready to go for Monday. Let's talk quickly about this Greek freak, not Atakakumpo or whatever the hell his name is, but instead this guy named Vangelis Pavlidis. 42 goals in the calendar year. When you look at him up against some of the greats of this club, only 2 players have scored more goals in a calendar year than Pavlidis. Eusebio did 53 in 1964. José Torres had 49 in 1964. Eusebio again had 43 in 1965. And then he had 42 in 1963. So we haven't seen something like this since 1960s, which is absurd for a striker. And I'll give you some other names. You had Jonas in 2017 scored 38 in a calendar year. Apart from that, you got to go Eusebio in the 60s and the 70s, Artur Jorge in 71, Nene in 82, which is pretty crazy to think a club of this dimension, some of the prolific scorers that we've had over the years, the Cardosos, the Limas, the Jonas, that you don't see more names on this list, but he's got 3 games remaining, if I'm not mistaken, in this calendar year. Let's see, we've got Famalicão, we've got Braga, so he's got 2 games remaining in this calendar year. Could potentially, hopefully, add to that tally. Kenny, I'm going to start with you here because you keep, beating a dead horse, man. The guy scores a hat trick, and Kenny's like, no, he's not convinced me yet. I want him to score a bicycle kick and do a backflip when he scores. And then he does a backflip when he scores, and Kenny's like, no, fuck that. I want him to do a triple somersault after he scores. It's not good enough. Kenny, tell me what you think about these stats, Kenny.
I wish there was more comments on this, but I'll say this. I'm not trying to diminish anything that Pavlidis has done. I thought he was a fantastic. He came on fantastic last year. Was a fantastic player for us last year. My gripe with him
only the second half of the season, though, he didn't start very well. Most of his goals came at the end.
Well, you're getting ahead. You're getting ahead of it here.
Oh, sorry.
My gripe with him this year is the same thing. I thought he came in pretty lackadaisical at the beginning of the season. I went through, and let me, before I go into that. So you just brought up, I didn't go through the numbers exactly where those 42 goals in a calendar year?
Yep.
Okay. I'm assuming those are all official games. So like we had a brand new tournament that was out this summer where he scored a shit ton of goals too, I believe. So like those all count, where like previous years, Jonas didn't have that type of tournament right? Because to me, I think Jonas's year is probably more impressive than Pavlidis' year, just because again, there's this. I don't know. Maybe he didn't score that many goals, but
we got the fact checker in the backstage. He's gonna go. He's okay. Putting in a chat GPT right now. He's gonna tell you if you're right or wrong, like Oscar.
But of course, like
be careful what you say. We got fact check now.
But I mean, if I'm and I didn't look at it, but like if I'm looking at this, yeah, of course he's up there with the 1960s players because there was a whole nother tournament that he played,
but
where he was able to score goals.
To me, it makes those numbers from those legends even more impressive because they weren't playing 60-something games in a season.
Right. But the competition was,
very. I mean,
yeah, there's ups and downs for both. But so that's the first thing. So like okay, that's an impressive number. It's a lot of goals, and I'm not trying to take away from him. Like, it's fine. Now back to my gripe with him this year at the beginning of the season, because I will say over the last probably 3-4 games, he's been great. He's been back into the form that like I saw from him at the end of last season. But
hold on. Before I gotta
go
tell
ahead.
you, Pavlidis only scored 1 goal in the Club World Cup against Auckland City. So let's axe that. Next.
All right. So to
regroup.
The reason why I was having a hard time with him at the beginning of the year. So, and these stats, I actually went and looked them up myself. So in the beginning of the year, this year, Pavlidis, okay, and I don't remember where I cut it. I think it was like 4 or 5 games ago. He had 10 league goals, 6 of which were PKs. Okay, so more than half of his goals were PKs. The remaining of those goals were all tap-ins. He didn't score with his header. He just recently scored his first goal with his header against Moreirense, right? He scored. I didn't see that game, but I think he scored a header. That was his first header this season. All his other goals have been tap-ins. He hasn't had a goal shot from outside of the box or even inside the box. Everything has been tap-ins from the small area. Where he's done his damage, where he's actually been like impressive, have been in the Taça games. He has 5 goals, only 1 PK. And again, PKs they count. I'm not taking that away from him. But last year he wasn't the PK taker. Di Maria was, and
he's still bagged 30-something goals.
He scored a shit ton of goals. This year he's the PK taker, and majority of his goals, not majority, but a big chunk of his goals, he has 6 PKs already in the league. 6 PKs. That's a lot. That's a lot. And again, they count. But like I was having an issue with him because he wasn't looking impressive. He didn't look the same from the end of last season. Again, slow start. And I give him his props. The Moreirense game, probably his best game of the season. He got a legit hat trick. I think the last hat trick he had, 2 of the goals were PKs that game. So this was a legit
hat trick.
It's a legit hat trick, but not all goals are created equal. All right. So like I would say the Moreirense game, and I didn't see it, but I from what I understand, he scored a header and he scored 2 really nice goals, I think. And I didn't even look at the highlights, but from what I heard, they were like real good goals. So he's coming into form. I hope he continues this. Just like last year, he had a slow start, finished really strong. Slow start, hopefully he finishes really strong. But that was my gripe with him, was that he had a slow start again to the season, and he didn't look the same as he finished last year. And now I'm starting to see that, and now I have to swallow my words. So
he got 2 hat tricks last season. Do you know who they were against?
Probably. I don't have a mind like
guess.
Oscar.
Please guess. Just guess.
I'm going to say
give me a guess here.
Porto
when we won 4-1, and who the other one was?
Martin?
Barcelona.
Oh, Barcelona. Okay.
Not bad.
Not
Some
bad,
good
no.
hat tricks right there.
Yeah.
Not bad. Now, Bill, I'm going to use you as a counter. I'm going to play Switzerland here. I'm going to use you as a counter argument. What do you have to say to Kenny's? I don't want to say hatred, because I know he doesn't hate him. Is he a Benfica fan, or is he hate watching expert? He's critical.
I'm critical.
Yeah. He's critical. What do you say to this?
Listen, we were all over Darwin for goals, right? Striker goals. That's what you want. Like, yes, you want him to be able to link up play and do, but at the end of the day, a striker is to be there to just knock balls into the back of the fucking net. And he has done it better than a lot of strikers we've had in recent years. And we've had some pretty good fucking strikers. And he's doing it in a period where I would say the team as a whole has not been at a level that Jonas had, or even Darwin had for a bit. Right? We're not playing that. The team has been in turmoil for a year and a half, 2 years, 2 seasons now. And he's in that stretch. He's bagged 30 goals last year, 30-something last year, and is on pace again this year to get into that 30 range, right? Like, to me, it's impressive, like the amount of goals he's scoring, given how the team around him has been playing and performing. Because we went like a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and when they're low, it's low. And at points last season, it was Pavlidis carrying the team. I mean, we saw it against Sporting last year where he took on half the team to score the goal. Like it's impressive to me. And I think as the team, I think someone made the comment, as the team is playing better, we're seeing him not have to drop as far back, right, to link up play. And he can be that striker for you that's going to sit up top a little bit more, stay in the area, tap ins, right? Like, so when I think it might have been Carlos again said, Jardel made a living with tap ins.
Yeah.
You're a striker. You're meant like you're living inside the 18 and causing havoc for defenders, right? And he is doing that. And yes, we want to see a striker be able to come out and create a little space and shoot from distance and score. But at the end of the day, if you're getting 2 or 3 opportunities and you're putting away 1 or 2 of them a game, like that's what we want from our striker, right? It's everyone else around him that has to lift up their play for the striker to be able to perform. In for Pavlidis in the last year and a half, 2 years, it hasn't been. He's been lifting up everyone else, and he's been creating a lot of it on his own. So to me, it's impressive, and I think if the team can keep playing the way we're kind of trajecting right now, I think the 30 whatever he got last year, he might get more than that this year because he's on a pace to go past that. And it's just if the team can keep performing the way we have been lately, I don't think 30 is past 30, 35, 40 goals is something crazy because I think he's. Go ahead.
No, go finish. You can finish.
No, because I think he's the type of player that if the team's playing well, he's going to bag goals, right? If he's getting those opportunities, he's going to take. If he's getting 2 or 3 a game, he's putting 1 or 2 away.
No, and I will agree with you and Carlos that as the team has been playing better, he has been playing like scoring better goals, being more involved, having more opportunities, and it all links. You're right. If it's all, it makes sense, right? Team's playing better, he's going to look better. Where I would disagree is that he's had to create more of his opportunities. The stats don't really show it. A lot of his goals are tap-ins, which to me means he's just sitting in front of the box, which is, again, I'm not taking away from that. Jardel did it for a living. He's doing it for a living, but he is getting fed the ball. He is coming to get the ball because the team in the midfield has struggled, but he is not really creating his own goal opportunities. The team is doing it for him. For a guy that size, to me, I don't want to say that he's a one-trick pony because, like, again, Jardel tap-ins. What else was he known for? Headers.
Yep.
Like, I just don't see that with Pavlidis is a big dude. He doesn't. We don't cross the ball. We do cross the ball, or we've kind of gone away from crossing the ball because he's not really that good with his head. He doesn't get his head on the ball that often. He doesn't score goals with his head. I don't know what his numbers were last year. I'm just going off of this year. But again, I'm not saying he's a one-trick pony. I'm not taking away from his tap-ins. He has turned it on. I've seen the change. I've seen him be more involved and having more opportunities, and that does link back to better play from the rest of the team. I'll raise my hand if he scores another 30 goals and finishes off the season, gets us to a victory. Like, yeah, this guy, he's proved it now 2 years. Again, my gripe with him, and I'm not saying he's not a good player. My gripe with him was, again, at the beginning of the season, to me, he started off slow, did not look the same as he finished last season. And if now that he's going back into form, okay, I'll be satisfied with it 100%. I'll give him his dues. I'll give him his flowers, as they like to say. I'll give him his flowers.
So last season, Pavlidis had 57 games, 30 goals, 13 assists. And he wasn't the main PK taker,
right?
Although he did take some. Against João Miguel says here in the backstage that Jonas had 28 goals and 0 assists in his first season with Benfica. So in terms of numbers, Pavlidis has better numbers because he's got 11 assists and more goals. Again, if that number is correct in terms of Jonas. So 30 goals, 13 assists last year. I was looking at this here. In the last 15 games in the league, Pavlidis scored in 11 of 15 in the last 15 games of the league, which is pretty impressive.
Crazy.
To score in 11 of the final 15 games in the league. So that was last year, 30 and 13. And then looking at this season where he stands, he's got 19 and 3. So he's more than halfway to that 30 in 28 games. And that's not counting the Club World Cup doesn't count for this season. So, right, this is starting from the Supertaça against Sporting.
Football season.
So 19 and 3 already with 28 games. So he's got 30 less games, more than halfway in relation to goals, less assists. And in the league, out of 14 games, he's scored in all but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he scored in more than half of the league games. Taça Liga, he scored in the only one. Farense, or in the Taça de Portugal, he scored against Chaves. He scored against Atletico. He didn't score today because he didn't play. So he's 100% basically in the Taça de Portugal for the games he played. He scored in the Supertaça. In Champions League, he has yet to score.
One goal.
He has one against Karabag. He didn't score in the qualifying. He scored against Karabag in the first game. He hasn't scored since. So all this to say, I'm a big fan of his.
And he's now the PK taker.
Correct.
Which has helped him this year.
I love how this is just like Benfica fans in general. How
No.
It's just how critical we are of our own players. This is beyond just Pavlidis, but this is like the perfect thing, right? Our masked friend that was over on the other side of Lisboa, the Segunda Circular, had like 19 PK goals last year.
Yeah.
And that was never mentioned once by anyone.
Yeah.
But Pavlidis is the main PK taker, and he's had like 7 or 8 so far this season.
True.
And that becomes now part of the argument. It's not just you, Kenny, because I've seen it online. And I've seen people still not convinced of Pavlidis as a goal scorer, not just like as a player. It's just like Pavlidis, the goal scorer. And it's it's insane how critical we are of our own players when this guy has done nothing but bad goals for us. And we haven't been, the team itself hasn't been at its best. And he's still 30 goals in a season. Like, it's crazy.
It sucks because they're not the team. It hasn't benefited the team, right? We're 8 points behind first place.
Correct.
Right.
So it just sucks because if we're in first, it probably changes the dynamic. You're not looking as deeply into it.
Yep.
But there's a stretch there where we lost games where it was Pavlidis. He wasn't a factor, right? And I think maybe it's a Pavlidis thing where he has a slow start to a season. Like, it takes time for him to build up to what again. He came in so strong at the end. Like, you read that, what was it? 13 goals in 15 games or whatever.
He scored in 11 of the final 15 games of the Portuguese League.
So like, you come in that you finish the season off that hot. You this is who to expect, and then you start the season where to me he looked sluggish. I mean, he didn't look good. He came in good against the Sporting game, got the tying the winning goal, I think.
In the Supertaça.
But then after that, it was, in my opinion, that's where I became critical of him because I saw very sluggish play. Like, he didn't look good with his back to the net. He kept losing balls. Okay, he would bag a goal here and there. He had a hat trick where he had, and again, you start criticizing like, oh, but he had a hat trick. Like, how is he? Oh, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, well, 2 of the goals were fucking PKs. Okay, well, that makes your living a lot easier. And then I started looking deeper into it. I'm like, yeah, because I remember when I first brought it up, you guys were like, yeah, but he's the leading scorer on the team. He's the leading scorer in the league. I'm like, okay, yeah. Why do I have that feeling where like he's not playing so well, but he's bagging all these goals? Where am I disconnecting? So when I looked into it, and I'm like, okay, more than half his goals have been PKs. I'm not saying it's not like shitty or whatever, but it's like, okay, that helps answer the question why I feel like he's playing poorly or less than last year.
Poorlier.
Poorlier.
I like that better.
More poor, whatever.
Trademark
You say it.
Poor.
That's not a
not a word. Okay.
That's definitely not a word. But I feel the way that he's not playing well, but he's still scoring the goals, and then it started adding it up to me for a little bit. But again, listen, he's doing much better. I've definitely, again, like the last 4 or 5 games, especially the Moreirense one, I didn't see it, but another hat trick. Got to give him his due, and hopefully he continues setting records. So it seems like he will be setting a record this year.
Domestically, he has played 14, 16, 17, 18 games domestically. So, Campeonato, Taça da Liga, Taça de Portugal, Supertaça, 18 games, and he scored in 12 of those 18 games. So, again, he's only not scored in 6 games. That was against Tundela. We won 3-0. Against Alverca, we won 2-1. Rio Ave at home, we tied 1-1. Porto, 0-0. Guimarães, we won 3-0. Sporting, we tied 1-1, and everything else he scored in. On the international stage, he's only scored in 1 Champions League game, including qualifications. So I think on the international stage, he needs to do better. But domestically, he definitely is firing on all cylinders. And I did read an article this week that said Mo has been doing some work with him to allow him to spend more time in the box and in the final third in areas where he can score goals more, rather than having to fill in the midfield and link up play as he has done more often than not, which then takes him out of those goal scoring spaces. So when you do put the ball into those areas, he's not there, right? Because he's too busy linking up play and dropping in between lines. Mo did say also in the press conference before the game that Pavlidis is one of those players that if he wasn't a striker, he could also be kind of an attacking midfielder because of the characteristics that he has, the ability to drop in, to link up play. And while a lot of strikers, there's games where they don't score and they offer the team 0 overall. Pavlidis isn't one of those guys where even if he doesn't score, he offers a lot to the team, whether it's linking up play, whether it's pressing the goalkeeper, whether it's pressing the defenders. So a different type of striker. But listen, I'm here for it. I'm a big fan of his. I hope that he continues to score goals. And if what Mourinho is doing with him and getting him into those areas more frequently to be able to score goals and tap-ins or whatever the fuck they may be, it can be penalties. I don't care how the hell he scores them as long as he puts them in the net. That's what I want. I think that's what everyone wants. So let's keep riding this Malacca and hopefully that he takes us to glory. Because
would have had another one today if it wasn't for if he was playing off the Mendy.
Oh yeah.
It.
That's true. He would
and might I add, I agree with what Bill was saying. Is like we live in this paradigm where we like to, how could I say, compare strikers, but take away from one. Where in the sense, like Gyökeres had all these penalty kicks handed to him. We can argue if they were real penalty kicks, but he had all these penalty kicks, and everyone in tabloids was saying he was the best striker in the world, and he was lighting up the world. And now he goes to a team where he's not catered to, he's not getting penalty kicks, and he's looked at as a dumpster fire. Whereas Pavlidis last year, if we remember correctly, he did score, if I am correct, 7 goals in the Champions League. He was a very pivotal piece for us in the Champions League and in the league with 11 assists, where we compared him to Jonas, where Jonas always had a goal skill. Yeah, okay. So Jonas always had a pivotal striker next to him where he could come out and play, and they didn't have to worry about being in the box. He had Mitroglou. He had all these different players that were always feeding into the box, where Pavlidis doesn't have that. He's the guy that likes to play, and he has to turn around and get right into the box.
But there were 2 different. The team dynamic was different. It's different.
That's what I'm saying.
Different strategy, different attacking approach. So, yeah, I think comparing. We're always going to compare.
Sudakov can easily make Pavlidis' life a lot easier if he can.
Correct. If he plays behind him
down the middle, yeah,
100%.
Yeah, currently,
yeah,
exactly.
Today, that's the problem. But again, let's hope that this is to continue. Let's hope that he's going to spend more time in the final third and be able to score goals. Whether they're head. The first goal against Moreirense this weekend was really nice. I mean, he's moving away, and he heads it back post.
Yeah, that was a good header. I did see that one. Yeah,
Ruiz, time for bedtime already. 10:00. See you, Rui. Thanks for joining, and make sure you listen to the final bits here after the fact. To close this out, We got
Can I just
Famalicão
add,
on-
Mike? Can I just
Yeah,
add
go ahead.
all those other guys? They all won the league, so Pavlidis still
Fair.
Yep.
needs to come out
Yep.
and win the league. So
I
score
agree.
as much as you want. Got to win the league.
I agree with that. We got Moreirense at the weekend or Monday. Or not Moreirense, Famalicão. Famalicão is currently 6th in the league. They've got 23 points, 18 goals scored, 9 goals conceded. They play Porto tomorrow, 12-18. Is that tomorrow?
Oh yeah, those
Yeah,
two back-to-back
tomorrow.
games.
They play tomorrow at Porto for the Taça. In terms of form, they just beat Estoril 4-0 at home. They lost to Braga 2-1 at home. They tied Famalicão, or they tied Moreirense 2-2 away. They lost to Porto 1-0 last month. They beat Nacional 1-0. They beat Guimarães. So in terms of their last 3, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the last 10 they've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They drew 3 and lost 2. So they're not lighting the house on fire either in terms of results, despite the fact that they're in a good position. They did start the season well. But they've had their ups and downs. But in terms of performance, Benfica there, let me just look at this quickly before we can jump off to the final topic. Benfica at Famalicão.
I feel like it's always a tricky.
Oh wait,
game.
it's at home. What the hell
It's
am I
at
saying?
home.
It's at home. Yeah, at home tricky away. At home we've won 4 of the last 5. We won 4-0, 3-0, 2-0, 2-0, and then 0-0. So at home we've got good form against them. Away from home, they've actually had good form as well this season. They haven't lost away from home in the league since Santa Clara. Oh, last year. They haven't even lost at home. They haven't lost away from home this season.
They haven't lost away from home.
Damn.
No,
Damn.
which is interesting. Away from home, they are 6 games, 12 points, 7 goals scored, 4 conceded. They're 6th best team away from home in the league. So that's where they've managed all their points. They've got 11. Oh, wait, hold on. Did I read that wrong? Oh, they've got 12 points away from home in 6 games, 7 goals scored. And then at home, they've got 11 points in 8 games. So they've been better away from home than at home, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Current form, they've got 7 points from their last 5 in the league. Benfica's got 11 points from the last 5. So promises to be a tough game nonetheless. But hopefully we can tack on another W, and then we end the year with Braga away from home, which is going to be a huge game for us to just close out the year, hopefully with a big result. But we'll be back to talk about that next week.
They're away to Porto, then away to Benfica.
Yeah,
that's pretty tough.
Tough back
stretch.
to back.
Are they gonna throw their eggs all in one basket with Porto for the Taça, or are they gonna?
Let's hope. Their coach is former Benfica goalkeeper coach. What the hell's his name? Ugo. I can't remember his last name.
Ugo Oliveira.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Ugo Oliveira. That's it. So maybe he's got a couple of tricks up his sleeve to beat Farioli tomorrow. That would be nice, having to go to Famalicão instead of having to go to Porto in the Taça, but we'll figure it out. All right, I want to finish this off with winner stays on. So basically, I'm going to give you 2 players. You tell me which one is better or which one you prefer, and then we'll move down the list. There's 8 players on this list. I had one for Oscar, but he didn't join, so maybe I can give you guys that one after the fact. But I'm going to start with Bill.
For him.
Yeah, I could save it for him too. Yeah, I'll start with Bill. I got some attacking players here.
So this is who we prefer, not
or who you think is better. However you want to analyze this, it's up to you.
Who you end up with.
Correct, and then you could get criticized in the comments or after the fact. It is what it is.
Yep.
This proceed at your own discretion.
Just make sure you end with Pavlidis, all right? You got to have Pavlidis at the end of your list.
Do what you want with this. It's up to you. Nuno Gomes or João Tomás?
Nuno Gomes.
Nuno Gomes or Raul Jimenez?
Nuno Gomes.
Nuno Gomes or Seferovic?
Nuno Gomes.
Nuno Gomes or João Felix?
Fuck Felix, dude. Nuno Gomes. Fucking.
Nuno Gomes or
Oh.
Jonas?
Oh, pistolas, dude. Jonas.
Jonas or Cardoso?
Fuck. I'm gonna go Cardoso.
Cardoso or Pavlidis?
Cardoso.
All right, so Cardoso's your winner. All right, we'll go with Kenny now.
Pretty good,
Defensive
Bill, pretty good.
players. David Luiz or Ruben Diaz?
Ooh, right off the bat.
Damn,
huh?
that's hot off the bat, dude. Fuck. Mine was a little easier. Fuck.
I'm gonna say David Luiz.
David Luiz or Antonio Silva?
David Luiz.
David Luiz or Otamendi?
David Luiz.
David Luiz or Luizão?
Oh, that's my guy, dude. I might get burned for this one. I'm gonna go with Luizão.
Luizão or Garay?
Luizão.
Luizão or Jardel?
Luizão.
Luizão or Lindelof?
Luizão.
I'm surprised you went with
Umo
David Luiz
Capitão.
over Otamendi.
That was a tough one. That was a tough.
The Otamendi, yeah.
David Luiz starting off was like tough there.
I'm gonna give you
Especially
guys
with Ruben
Oscars.
Diaz.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys Oscars, and you guys can both give me your thoughts.
Bill, I swear to God, if you had gone against Cardoso, I would have thrown my PC across the room.
I
had my
have
hands
way
on
too
it.
much respect for Luizão to not
Yeah.
fucking love
Fair.
Luizão.
All right, I'll give you Wise. Oh, there's Oscar.
Peasy masked it.
I got Oscar, so
Oh.
Oscar can give us his comments while I read this off, and you guys can give me your thoughts collectively.
Can this kid call
Um,
in?
He's
Call
probably
in,
laying in
dude.
bed right now. All right, let's do Poborski or Ola John.
Poborski.
Poborski.
Poborski or Salvio.
Salvio.
Yeah.
Bill.
I mean, Poborski was nasty, but I think Salvio gave us a little more.
Salvio or Giovanni.
Salvio.
Salvio or Simão.
Simão.
Simão or Gaetan.
Oh,
I mean, I got
Hey,
roasted
where's
for
Tank
this
in
already
one?
because I said I'd take Gaetan over Simão. We talked about this like last year.
we
or the year
did,
before.
yeah.
And I said I prefer a player like Gaetan over Simão and got roasted
So
for
Bill
it.
Bill
I'm
would go
sticking to my
Gaetan.
fucking take.
I think this is where we
And who you
split.
going?
I think this is where we split. I'd go Simão.
All right. So Oscar took Poborski, took Salvio. Let's see once he catches up where he's going. So we've got Kenny, you got Simão or Di Maria?
Di Maria.
Bill, you've got Gaetan or Di Maria?
Di Maria.
We're on Di Maria.
So we're right
yeah.
back.
All right.
We're right back together.
And Di Maria or Rafa?
Di
Oh, Di
Maria.
Maria.
I wonder if Oscar will take Rafa over Di Maria. Just
No good vibes
all the
here.
years.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, so can we follow Oscar? So was it? Can we go back to the beginning?
So you said
He said
Poborski,
Poborski.
and then he went Salvio, and
but
then
who was it? Poborski and
Simão.
who?
It was Poborski Ola John, and then Poborski
Poborski.
Salvio. He goes Salvio,
Salvio.
and then Salvio Giovanni Salvio,
Salvio.
Simão,
Simão.
Simão.
And now we
Oh.
got to wait for him to catch up
The
to tell us what else he picked. Rafa. He ends with Rafa.
he ends with
So-
Rafa. Yeah.
You know,
He's
he's
got
got
Rafa
good
was
vibes.
easy.
Dude on your chest.
I was gonna
Surprised
ask
he didn't put
add
Peasy at the end.
Peasy, and I forgot, but he would have.
Oh
picked
yeah, you
Peasy
had
over
that.
everyone.
Pizaldinho.
Yeah, he would take Peasy.
Definitely would have
Yeah.
picked Peasy over
Over all
everyone.
of them.
Yeah. All
Pretty
right.
good.
Well, that's a wrap for us today. Again, we've got Famalicão on Monday. We'll be back next week, either Monday or Tuesday, depending on how schedules align. Hopefully, we got good news. Hopefully, we don't have to go play Porto in the Taça de Portugal, and we can go a little bit to, I don't know if it's south or west or east. But go to Famalicão would be better. But if we got to go there, then we got to go there. Gentlemen, as always, a pleasure. Thank you, everyone that was in the comments. Not as many comments as usual, but we did have a decent amount of people tuning in. For those of you who are watching after the fact or listening, you can always come back, leave us your thoughts, your comments. Don't forget to follow, like, share, subscribe, do all those fun things for us. We appreciate it. Yeah, that's it. Another W in the books. We're on to the quarterfinals of the Taça de Portugal. We're rolling. We're getting some momentum going. Gentlemen, a pleasure. Have a good evening. Viva Sporting Benfica, and we'll be back next week. See you guys.
Força.
Later, boys.